Hey, welcome to the Sisterhood of the Traveling Bantha. We are your hosts, Denise
and Rexy, and we are recording with special support from Council Member Mark Collier.
And we're broadcasting from our galaxy to yours.
May the force be with you.
Always.
Hey, Herd.
What is up, Herd? We are,
Happy New Year.
Yes,
We're recording on New Year's Day.
We are into the 2024 kind of like caught us off guard with everything that we had going on.
Wow.
And
I think I'm ready for this weekend so I can
Yeah.
I'm a little tired. Today's been busy.
I
haven't had any downtime at all today. I'm tired.
I am too, but we had a good day. We went and went to Build-A-Bear today.
Yes, we did.
And we have a second Bonnie because Bonnie 1.0 needs some TLC.
Yep. So we are going to have her repaired. And in the meantime, nobody will go Bonnie-less.
No.
Bonnie has been reincarnated into a new belt.
So there's a fun little video on TikTok if you want to see that. Is at Traveling Bantha, same as all our other social medias.
Yep.
Literally every platform.
Yep.
That was a fun, cute little trim down from like 30 plus minutes to a minute long. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I did it.
Good job.
I also sped up all the videos like
Yeah, that works.
2 times 2. And yeah.
That way you can see the stuff and it doesn't have to be. Yeah, because Eric came along and we asked him to record for us, and so he was very cool.
He literally recorded the entire. So there was a lot of like downtime waiting and
stuff. You can just cut that out and stuff.
Yeah. But I got it down to a minute.
I
So
now it's a reel too, right?
Yes.
And candy.
You do have a candy
cane. I got a candy cane. I got a candy cane. Hey.
I got a cup.
I know. I love it. Did they do the other things?
No, this is one they did for Star Wars for May 4th. I'm wondering. Ooh, no, let's knock that over. I'm wondering if for May 4th this year, because they always do.
Maybe another one.
Disney, Star Wars, and Starbucks always do. The planet mugs.
Mm-hmm.
This was the first time, or 2024 was the first time they ever did the cup with
such
the planet.
A cool cup too. Yeah.
And I really like this. I don't go to Starbucks. I've never bought a Starbucks cup, but
look how cute it is.
It's super cute, and it's Hoth, and it's blue, and
it's got the Wampa.
Yeah.
This is Armand.
It's pre-Luke encounter.
Okay, so you guys, we are here to talk about Skeleton Crew episode 4.
Yes.
So spoiler warning, if you have not seen it, please go watch the episode before you come hang out with us. We are going to be talking spoilers. We are going to talk about everything with the show. Please go watch it and then come back.
Yes. So hopefully if you're listening to it, we are in real time, like episode 6 just aired. Yeah. So you should see it, but
just
again,
in case.
Your warning. We are discussing episode 4. Can't say I remember. No Attin.
Can't say I remember. No Attin.
It was just so weird. Like when he said that, I was like, "But you talked about this like at Attin and all these other things," and I was like, "Wouldn't that be the same?"
Right. And I remember I was messaging Denise, and I was like, "He's said this twice now, exactly the same. I feel like it's a canned response. Like I feel like somebody programmed him."
Well, somebody did.
Yep. As we found out.
Captain. Shit, what? I can't remember the captain's name. That's okay, because the captain's name is revealed in the next episode anyway.
Yeah.
So,
it's fine. You'll find out in the next episode.
Yeah, he programmed him so nobody would go and get his.
Find it, yeah. The treasure and the planet, and like all of the information would just be like wiped from. Well, he was the only one who really had information on it.
Yeah.
And he had it all locked up. And then that He told me if anybody ever came snooping
Oh my
around.
God. Okay, so before we get to that point, let's talk about. All right, so kids
Cracking up though.
are helpful sentience.
Yes.
She did get coordinates
Mhm.
and gave. She thought they were coordinates that Attin and gave it to them, and they leave. And as soon as they landed, I was just like, something's off.
Right.
Like, it was so happy and like bright colored.
It wasn't that long ago, right? Like,
yes, I was like,
it was like a couple episodes ago.
but they've only been gone for like maybe what 2-3 days,
Maybe
at the most. I'm thinking,
and the entire planet has been like grayed. It's like grayscale now.
it looks like it has been in some war. It is post-apocalyptic, and
Yep.
but it was very weird. So they land. It had the same houses. as
Yeah.
Attin.
Yeah, because
Had
the
the
kids
same-
were like pointing, like, "Oh, that should be the
Yeah.
what's wrong with it?
That's the school, and that's the like
Mhm.
tower, like everything.
So and so lives here."
And so that made me wonder, and I did a TikTok about this like right after the episode. Like, so we know that there were, and we talked about this last episode too, the jewels of the Republic.
Mhm.
There were 9 planets.
And the only one that survived was Attin, right?
we
'Cause it
don't
was hidden
know.
away.
We don't know.
Oh, I thought that they had said like the other 8 were destroyed.
Well, obviously not, because that Akron's still going.
That's true. I wonder if maybe they mean destroyed as in like it's bombed out.
They thought,
Shell.
but everybody thought that Attin too was
It's
just.
true. Because everybody's like, "Oh, it's a myth."
It's a legend, like it's not
And these
real.
kids are like, "No, I lived there.
But,
I was
like-
there 2 days ago."
But like these planets, was it some like great social like experiment? Because now we see at Akron and at Attin, and they are like the exact same blueprints.
Mhm.
If you like blueprints, as in like the building and the layout, something obviously happened.
Right.
Socially,
And so,
it
like,
went different.
Are all of the planets that way? As like every single planet, like a carbon copy blueprint of
And then
it?
see
yes,
how society like evolves. Like we have at Attin, which are very peaceful people, and then at Akron you got these 2 different tribes that are at war with each other.
But is that because now they're surviving in this post-apocalyptic world and they've had to become like warlike, to
But why
survive?
are they like that? Why isn't at Akron if it's or at Attin like that? Like
Well, that's what I'm saying.
that's what I'm
Like,
saying.
if the planet was like war-ridden and this is what they had to do to survive, maybe they left there peaceful and had to
I
take up
think
this
they
like
were
fighting.
all created at the same time. I think they had the people just react. If you go into like social experiments and leave people to themselves, they just respond differently. I think they just had different responses.
Yeah.
I think initially everything started off as exactly the same, and it was just people chose different paths, different leaders with different like strengths or outlooks on things.
So do you
Like-
think that they blew themselves up?
I think what happened at Akron was that a long time ago there was a power struggle between 2 people that led to them causing a war. And I think on Attin, everything is driven by these droids, that maybe the droids are more in charge of things than we think on Attin, which would be why they talked about the supervisor, and we never see the supervisor.
Maybe the supervisor
And
is a
so-
droid.
Maybe. And so at Akron, it was led by the people rather than the droids, and we know how people can get, especially when 2 people are fighting for power. So I wonder if that's what happened, because they talked about the different, like, which flag do you fly? So there's obviously 2 like war parties.
I think that I think they sprung up after the destruction of their planet. I think that we ended up with like pockets of people who survived this, and so to continue to survive, they banded together and then became.
I don't think that. I think it was just kind of maybe somebody started these experiments and then were like, I'm bored, and kind of just left them to themselves. And then
You think they did it to themselves?
yes, I do.
I think they were. I don't know. It feels to me like just very bombed out. I feel like they were attacked or raided for something that they have, and then.
But then
these are the people that survived, and so they
nobody
had to keep fighting
talks
to
about
survive.
Akron. Nobody knows about Akron.
Nobody really knows about. I mean,
like
I don't either, but depending on who died or who was in charge.
But if there was some planet that was taken over, like, wouldn't people know about that in some data history?
I don't think so. We literally have both Vernestra and Yoda that we have canon now that have just straight up left things out of the archives.
Yeah.
They've hidden things and covered it up.
I don't know. I think it was some sort of great work experiment that just kind of fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And they were just, all these planets were left to themselves to fend for themselves. And in that situation being abandoned, people will respond
like a Lord of the Flies type situation.
Yes. That's where I think it was. Yeah, it was very interesting. But like,
I wanted to know about the other ones, like the other planets. What do they look like? Do they look like Attin 2? Do they look like
we need
Akron?
more?
Do they,
I don't think we're going to get more information.
No.
I genuinely don't think we're going to, especially after like episode 5 and 6. I don't think we're going to, but I think
there's 8 episodes in this. Is that right?
Yeah.
So close.
Yeah,
already.
we're already close to the end. But I don't. And I also want to know, like, are there more like people on the planet? So they talked about just 2, like, essentially tribes on Akron. But is it
kind of like warring clans, opposing clans?
It just always seems like every planet that somebody goes to in Star Wars, there's like only one main city hub. Like, how is that possible? Like, is it really just this one area that has people? Like, why don't they just spread out?
I think maybe we're just at the mercy of time frame. Time frame and the ability to tell the story well.
But that's with everything Star Wars. Like,
yeah,
there's
a formula.
Tatooine, you think of two cities, Mos Espa and Mos Eisley.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you go like to Ryloth, you only think of the one major town where they have all the Twi'leks there, and then there's like little sub camps outside of it.
Right. In fact, whenever they talk about it, they honestly just mention Ryloth, and you just kind of know that they're talking about the civilization.
The same like with Naboo, you only see where the capital is.
Yep.
And they never talk about the capital. Ever talk about any other place, but then we learned about the Gungans who live underwater. But like everything is literally Alderaan.
Yep.
Where the palace is, and that's where the city is. Like, everything is like that.
We didn't hear more about that until we started reading the books.
But even then, it's only the main city that is like connected to the castle on Alderaan. Every single Star Wars planet has it.
I know.
Cities.
It has to be, right? There's a lot of people.
That's like same with like Endor, they all live in the same area. It blows my mind.
I think it's just the mercy of not being able to show everything.
Well, yeah, but you can still name drop other cities. At least we know in Coruscant the entire planet's a city.
Yeah.
That's one big.
Because that's all it is.
That's right. But it just like, why?
Why'd we name everything Endor?
Matt and I were just talking about that earlier today, and he's like, he thought it was a planet, and I was like, no, it's a moon. It's one of like 8, 10, 13, 15 Endor moons.
Endor, Rexy's favorite.
Is it because they just didn't want to create all these different cultures and subcultures? And I don't know.
We didn't have to though, right? Like they could have just been like, name. We never have to talk about it again.
So these 2 warring like clans, they could have literally. There is so much technology on this planet because it is the same as it. They could have just each taken their own tech and they could have gone somewhere else and not have to fight each other. But
nope, they're fighting.
It's obviously a power struggle, and I think that's what.
I think they're fighting over just what's left. I think they were raided for treasure, and I have it in my head that all of the other planets probably have some type of treasure that people would want. And so I think that Akron was raided once they were kind of left to their own devices. they were also left without maybe the protection that they had been accustomed to. And so I feel like they were probably raided, and this is what was left. And now these two factions that are left are just fighting over the trash heap that is left in the planet.
Possibly, because Attin is known. It's supposed to be this internal. But why aren't any of the other planets thought to be this internal treasure if they're all the same? I don't
know. Unless it's because everyone thinks that all the rest of them have been completely destroyed. Because in that myth, it's like, oh, all of the planets were destroyed, and hidden away. So I wonder if that's why. It's just like it's gone so far into myth and legend now that people are like,
I don't know. There's too many questions.
And not enough episodes left.
I really.
How are we going to answer all the questions?
I think that is one of the things that I like the least about this new I love everything Disney, Star Wars. I love it all, except the fact I hate that seasons are so short.
Yeah, these 8 episodes, man. I want more.
And I feel like
I don't know how we're gonna wrap it up.
I feel like, but that's all streaming now. Streaming is turned into these 40-minute, 8-episode stories. I'm like, no, I miss a whole season. I miss having more story. I feel like if it was maybe went from 8 to 12 episodes, we'd get a little bit more of this history. Andor was perfect. Andor, the 12 episodes was exactly what we needed. We got the story development. We got the whole arc.
And you had time. You had time to get through all of that.
Can't we do that with this?
I wonder if people are so accustomed to very bite-sized things. I wonder if they're just trying to, market more to short attention span viewers.
Or it could just be budget. It's a very expensive
Disney
show.
Having budget problems?
Oh, that's one of the main reasons why Acolyte was not renewed, was the budget.
I read something about that.
Yeah.
It was so expensive just to create one set.
Yeah. So then, I don't know, find this balance. I need more than 8 episodes.
It's not enough.
It's just...
And we have so many questions. At the end of it, we're left with so many questions.
Especially now that we only have 2 more episodes, and there's still there's still so much left. There's still so much left unanswered. And I can't. And
how are they gonna possibly wrap it up in?
I don't think we're gonna get a lot of these answers, because I think there's more focus on this adventure, just having an adventure
just
instead
having
of
fun.
Getting all the lore. And I don't get me wrong, I'm loving the show and I'm loving the adventure, but me being me, I want the information.
Right. You want your questions answered. You want to know. You want to know backstories.
Be able to go and search. Question: why did the daughter in this episode of the leader have an accent and nobody else in the entire?
Right. She's the only one.
Where did that accent from?
That's a very good question that probably we won't get to know.
Yeah, I don't think they're going back to Akron at all after this episode. But
yeah, I guess it wouldn't really make any sense for them to go back.
What?
She's French. Why is she French? Nobody else is French.
I was like, huh?
I know, it threw me off at first. And I don't know if I've heard many French accents in the Star Wars universe.
I think this might have been the first time.
Yeah.
But it just really
nobody else.
It really.
Where did she pick it up? Where did she pick up the French? French.
Secluded planet that
yeah, it's not like she's got, outside influences coming in.
I just maybe it was one of the educational droids, and she's I'm gonna change the settings.
Maybe. I want to talk like this now.
But yeah, so I thought that threw me off a lot, but the character was really cool.
Yeah, she was great. I liked her.
It was very interesting that these adults, how they regarded children, was completely different, and it was also very similar to Attin in a way. So here they viewed the children as adults and treated them as adults. Like they fought. These children.
Yeah, they were trained from the time they could hold a weapon, pretty much.
Yeah, they were fighting in the war, which is very similar to Attin. Remember, when they're 10, they take this career assessment to start their career training
for their whole life. 10 years old, a 5th grader.
So this planet also
somebody younger than your child.
See, that's where I think that these planets were like some sort of experiment, because they're 2 different planets, but both planets, the kids very young,
right,
are treated differently and expected to go on to these paths. Like,
it makes me want to know more about the other planets. I want to know even more. Like, okay, well, if one is like fighting and the other one is like very into administration and they're all like accountants, like, or analysts. They're all analysts.
What if?
Are they analyzing the other planets?
Well, no. What if these like 9 planets are connected in this community where one focused on the analytical side of things, one was focused maybe on like military, one's focused maybe on like botany or something. Like,
okay,
what if they were like created
would potentially like the great work?
Yeah.
What if they were trying to create themselves like a utopia of
between
like
these
perfect
countries? Yeah.
All these planets are like, this planet is perfect. Perfect.
If they were connected, why couldn't they contact the other planets?
Right. What was lost? Something was lost in the middle if they couldn't.
If they are at war with each other, or your theory rated, why didn't they contact
anybody for help? Right?
Even the ones that they're like in their like whatever, like.
Well, remember, I mean, like at Attin, like it was difficult for people to manage to go beyond the barrier. They're calling it the barrier.
Well, I think that was just set up. They're not allowed to leave the barrier. Right.
But what if, unlike other planets, maybe there are communication blockers, satellite blockers, things to keep them from being able to talk to each other? If they're like, if this was a great work experiment and somebody has set it all up, they wouldn't want their test subjects to be corrupting the other test subjects. Right? They would want to keep them separate.
There's something fishy about it, and I don't like it at all. And
you think we'll get the answer to that?
Nope. I'm telling you, I'm not banking on a lot of answers for this.
Well, that's right, folks. That's been the show. Good night.
I don't think we're gonna get a lot of answers. There we go.
Disney,
I
do better.
But like,
listen,
I think that's because like if you will go back and look at all these other like the ambient
planets.
I know. But this is the whole ambient like theme type show based off of like E.T.
Right,
and
that's
Goonies,
true.
And it was always all of those things were very surface level.
It is. It's just it's this fun adventure, and then
it's like this because like and. That is.
We probably wouldn't have so many questions if we weren't as immersed in Star Wars as we are. Like if we were just watching it on a surface level, probably be like, "Hey, this is great. Okay, cool. On to the next thing."
Especially because at this point we are 45, 48 years into Star Wars with like A New Hope.
Yeah,
we have so much.
50 is in 27.
So much lore. And so much content to like.
Right. And maybe we kind of expect everything to be nice and richly filled out. And
because there was such a drought for so long, like everybody dove into all these extra things and dove into researching. We're not used to just
not having anything. Yeah.
Like, but
it's just like, just watch it for fun and move on.
It's also very reminiscent of the original trilogy where
there wasn't a lot of info because it was new. It just started.
Well, the Empire, they're just bad because they're just bad.
Yeah. There wasn't, it took decades to get all of this backstory and everything fleshed out.
And so it's very
The show's been out for like 6 episodes at this point. Is that what you said? Yeah. 6 episodes by the time you guys are watching this. So it's not surprising, but we have been a little spoiled.
We have.
We would like more information.
But it's, you guys. But it's great.
Look what Denise bought
me. It's upside down. There you go. It's techy. Tech. But I think not having having all this deep lore, though, is great for new Star Wars fans. And I know we've talked about that before. Because you don't have to know anything Star Wars to watch this show and to be able to jump in and understand it. And understand what's going on.
You're not lost. You're not like, who is that? Why are they doing this thing?
There's no connections. Yeah. Like, the connections that are mentioned are very subtle.
Yeah.
Like, the Old Republic credits, very subtle.
And those aren't things you have to know. Like,
no.
We know about them and we want to know more just because we are such big Star Wars fans.
Talking about Jedi, we all know what Jedi are. Like,
right. You know, I mean, you just have to be alive to know surface level Star Wars. And so this is really good for new fans. Slightly less good for us spoiled older fans who have gotten all of the information because I don't want to wait.
I think
I want to know right now.
I know. I think, though, I would like for this to have a second season.
Do you think we're going to get one? I was going to ask you that earlier about, like, maybe we'll get our questions answered in the next season.
I think maybe they're leaving that to expand more in the second season.
And then maybe they won't, like, put themselves in a box.
So I could see, like, this season 1 is all these kids trying to get back to Attin. And then I think if they do this season 2, like Star Wars, Lucasfilms, like, season 2 could be them trying to figure out
the deal with the planet.
Why are they being kept in this barrier? Why aren't
who's the supervisor? Why don't we ever see him?
But like, they're obviously all connected because at the end of this episode at Akron, remember, they're like, yeah, you can go up to the tower. There's coordinates up there, and they go up there, and you look around
every one of them.
It was all 9 of the planets. At Akron,
there were coordinates to every single one of them.
All of them. So obviously they're connected.
Right. So at one point, somebody knew.
Yeah. Somebody knew. I will say, but really,
this just makes me...
That's what I'm saying. So they learn they're at Akron. They're not at Attin. They do this stupid task for this stupid leader that makes these kids go out.
Yep. They're like, honor us by leading us into battle.
I will say I did love Neil in this episode, and it really highlighted. So we have Fern and Wim, who are those like very outgoing, very brave, very
they're like the leaders of the group.
And then you have KB, who's very analytical, and then you have Neil, sweet Neil,
he's compassionate and he's kind and he's
a scaredy cat.
And he's terrified.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's what this episode showed, was that there's nothing wrong with being afraid and to lead by compassion and by being nice, because that's what he kept.
Yeah, and that's his strength. His strength is his compassion.
Yeah. And I really think that he started, so the girl that they met up with, she's supposed to take over. And
the first one?
Yes. He was like, why can't you just be nice and get along? And she's like, well, this is how, whenever I take over and we win. And he's like, why don't you guys just talk? But I do think that he did make an impact on her. And
when they were talking after, she was saying things about like, well,
maybe I'll actually implement some of this and lead a different way.
Like Neil, the sweetest little baby, is made probably the biggest impact on this girl.
But anyway, so yeah, that was a detour. I wanted to talk about Neil on this. So they get up to this room and Attin's coordinates are blown out. Like, they're blown away. You know what my immediate thought was? Like, they start getting upset. I was like, why don't you just fly to one of the other ones and get the coordinates from the other one?
Because like, if they're all exactly the same, this tower is in all of the planets. So go to another one. Owen has a thought.
Wait.
Okay.
He said the captain destroyed every single one of the coordinates. That means at each other planet, the coordinates might not be there.
Oh, he did. You are right, dude. Good job. Dang. Yeah. I forgot about that. So yeah, they wouldn't have been able to.
So did the captain go to every single planet?
Yeah, because the captain destroyed them all, right? So the captain went around and just... Maybe he used Smee and was like, Smee, punch him.
He just needs the mind of a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
Because we overthink it.
Yeah. And he's like, no, Listen, in the show, they told you the captain destroyed them all. They literally couldn't.
This is also the kid that realized that the ship was upside down, and I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
There's been a few times where
He's
like,
helpful, man.
he's like, oh yeah. I was like, you caught that on your first watch? And I think that's because I'm sitting there trying to like get all these little extra details.
Yeah, he's just
And
watching.
he's just watching it to watch it and have fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would make sense why they wouldn't go over. And
That's true, because they couldn't. They're all broken. I thought Smee was going to kill them all.
oh my gosh, when she did the override,
Yep.
I will say
Rip
Fern.
them limb from limb.
So like Fern, before getting to that point, I felt for Fern. She was so used to being the leader, and she finally like she broke, and she was like,
The conversation she was having with Lynn.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, what good am I if I don't know? And like, and that I think that plays into a lot with. I think she has issues with self-worth and having to be the leader because her mom touched on in the first episode. You need to be head of your class. You need to be doing all this, and so I wonder if she like puts
undue pressure on herself.
yeah, but evaluate self-worth with being the best of everything.
That wouldn't surprise me. If her mom is that way and she's pushing her to be, in charge, basically.
Yep. Head of the class, so she could get a spot with the student supervisor.
Whatever whatever the
there's
table
because
was.
she's like, there's only so many like openings up at the top, and like you have to do good and you have to do this. And
I'm like, not a single thought about what Fern might want.
no.
And then
no.
Lim is trying to be like, cheer her up and give her motivation, and he's like, oh, you're the captain, you'll figure it out, you always do. And I think that set something off in her. She was just like, why like why does it have to be me? Like, I don't know.
But she did figure it out, and she went and had override Smee. And that like Smee. What did he say, Ellen? What? Tear you limb from limb? What exactly did he say?
It was something about if the captain said if anybody ever comes sneaking around or tear them limb from limb. Something to that effect.
It's like, what is going on?
I know.
Like, no.
You're gonna tear them all apart. Sorry.
Smee is like all over the.
He's addled.
I love Smee. I forgot at the
He's
beginning
the
of this
best.
episode when they land on the planet and the kids go off and they tell John to stay on the ship, and they're like, Smee, watch John. And it's
Activating
like
babysitter
mode. Low torch. And
Like, John just looks at him.
like,
Come on, baby.
so funny because then when John like he goes out and the people come up and he's like, just shoot me now.
Yeah.
Like I'm so done. But then he sang a very different tune once they got up into that tower and saw all the different coordinates.
Yep.
And
Yep. And he got, you know what I really loved is it was like you could see him reluctantly just deciding like these are mine now, and I have to protect them and keep them safe, even if I would like to stuff them in a closet. He's just begrudgingly like, oh, sweet. I guess we're doing this.
Fine. Because unless he brought the kids back, Smee wasn't going to do anything for him because Smee is very loyal first mate.
Yep, and he is loyal to his captain and his crew
until he gets overridden and tears him limb from limb.
Yeah.
Poor Neil. I thought he was going to take down. Was it Lim initially? And Neil throws that rock like David and Goliath. Like,
yep.
I was like,
it was like, what it reminded me of was Neville. When Neville had to finally stand up to his friends and they petrified him.
Yep.
And then he just bloop. It's hard sometimes to do the brave thing, when you're not brave in your heart. And Neil is not a brave little guy. And, he still, when it counts, he's there.
Yeah, he steps up when he needs to step up.
Yep.
But he leads by compassion
Yep.
first. And we need more Neils in the world.
We do. We do.
Way more deals in the world. But I love that episode. It was interesting. This episode, like I said several times throughout our episode, it left me with so many more questions.
It sounds like you're gonna get more questions.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get books.
It'll be a while before we get books.
Probably, but maybe
Acolyte, it took it's a whole year afterwards before we get our 2 books.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
But maybe they'll come and we'll get more information on those other
Because I think
planets.
the first one doesn't come out until May.
Damn. That's January 1st.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well.
My child is making snow angels.
I was trying to figure out what he was doing. I can just see one foot in the corner of the window moving.
Yeah, so stay tuned. We will be discussing episode 5 next week. Yeah, we got exciting things coming up that are in the works. We're super pumped. Make sure to follow all our social medias. We should probably say that at the beginning of the episodes. Make sure to follow all social medias.
Yeah, beginning and somewhere middle and
Yeah.
in the show somewhere we should probably be like, hey. There's also, we have a Patreon. You can sign up for like special things. You get behind the scenes and monthly exclusive episodes and giveaways
Stickers
and merch
and-
and gifts and yeah. Very active Discord server. You can join us over there. That, like everything else, is
So from our galaxy to yours.
oh, come on. Come on, give it a shot. You can do it. Leave stuff for the blueberry.
Finding the fun from our galaxy to yours. May the force be with you always.
Yeah, you did. Oh, I'm so proud of you. Oh, I'm so proud of you.
So that said, finding the fun from our galaxy to yours.
May the force be with you.
Always. Find that funny, child?
It gets better at the world.
Thank you for listening to Sisterhood of the Traveling Bantha, written and produced by Denise McKay.
Edited and produced by Rexy Jupiter. Original logo designed by Tyler Rigney.
Intro and outro music is provided by the Galactic Empire.
You can find us on all streaming platforms at Travel and Bantha.
And join our Discord for fun-filled galaxy chats.
You can also sign up for our Patreon starting at just $3. You get exclusive episodes, merch, behind the scenes, and more.
And a special thanks to all our Jedi Knight members and higher. We have Rooney, Michael Beavers, Mark Collier, and James Peake. From our galaxy to yours,
May the force be with you.
always.